Gonna light the ritual candle. Um, there's a podcast that I occasionally listen to, and I do want to be clear. I take in media from all sides, so conservative, liberal, mainstream, and Democrat. Mainstream and independent. And so there's this podcast to balance things out. There's this podcast I listen to. It's by Vox, and I I just listen occasionally, not frequently, but I was scanning the titles over the weekend, and there was an episode basically on why. I forget the exact title, but I'll put the link to this podcast, this episode in the notes. But it was on the title was basically something about why does dating suck for young men or something like that. And I I listened to this thing, and quite honestly, it really struck me as so sad. And I'll try to explain why, but for for young men, um, I feel that things have been socially engineered to a degree, um, that their dignity has been taken from them. And and what I mean by that is they've been basically told that a normal, natural level of masculinity is not only toxic, but just what used to be 20 years ago healthy, right? It's toxic, but it's criminal. So young men today simply do not know how to behave. They don't know what's the right thing. Their instincts tell them, well, this is normal, but then they're petrified because they almost feel like there could be legal consequences for doing normal things, or um, that they could be made to feel like they're a creep, or they could be completely humiliated on social media for doing something, for taking a risk, basically. And I'm talking about with dating, right? With asking a girl out. Um, and and I say that I think it's beneficial for men my age who are above 55 to um, try to give young men some perspective, not to tell them what to do, not to give them, instructional videos or, give them step-by-step instructions on what to do. But I think it's more helpful to give them some perspective, to tell them that right now, temporarily in society, things are abnormal. Okay. They're abnormal right now, and it's preventing the social atmosphere has been engineered that it's preventing normal relations between young men and young women. Okay. And and when I say that things are not normal right now, I'm saying this is where I'm coming from. We know the social pendulum swings back and forth constantly, right? So we're in an abnormal phase. It's going to swing back. This can't last. Okay. But but I say this there's so much I could say about this, and I want to keep this video brief. I'll If people take interest in this, I might put some more videos on explaining more. But I have a lot of exposure to young people. I have two kids, a boy and a girl in their 20s. And then there are some things that I do, some groups I belong to, and things I do where I get a lot of exposure to young people. And quite honestly, it breaks my heart what I see. So, but I feel listening to this podcast to hear that young men have been reduced to being afraid to approach a girl to try to get to know her or express potential interest. I mean, like at a party or a social setting. Okay, they're afraid to approach them because they're afraid it could be viewed as creepy. And for people my generation, this was just, it was not just normal, it was a daily occurrence. I mean, it wasn't just normal, it was like this was life. Um, so because they're afraid to approach women in person, they're being relegated to trying to get dates on social media. And what they're losing are things like, something that happened to me in my early 20s. My first job after college, moved away from home. I was whatever, 4 hours from home, right? And had a really good job, had a lot of young friends. I was in a college town. It was New Haven, and just a lot of really bright young people that went to Yale or that lived and worked in New Haven. And I went to a party. A guy I worked with had a party on a Friday night, and it was all people in their you know early 20s up into their early 30s. A lot of them Yale students. And I walked into this party, and I heard a voice, and I turned and looked, and she turned and looked at me, and that was it for the next 2.5 years. And we both knew it in that instant. You're not going to get that on social media or on a dating app, you know. So much of this should be visceral and about in-person chemistry, right? And it's being reduced to like algorithms and calculations and checklists and things like that. And it really breaks my heart to see these young guys struggling. So that's all I'll say for now. And I'm welcome any comments. I'm really interested in hearing what people of all ages have to say about this issue. And again, this issue is like the state of like dating and relationships between young people. Thanks.